The following is a special presentation of the First Horizon Green Sports Zone. This is the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton with Chuckey-Doak Black Knights football team. We'll recap the Week 1 win over North Greene and look at what's ahead in Week 2 as the Black Knights host Sullivan East for their first home game of the season. So we'll be right back after a message from our sponsors here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
The Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, brought to you by Gateway Ford Nissan, Tommy's Plumbing, and by Terry's Flooring.
Welcome back to First Horizon's Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton on the Black Hole with Chuckey-Doak Black Knights football team. As always, I'm joined here with Chuckey-Doak head coach Billy Kaylor. Coach, how's it going this week?
Going all right, man. Good to see you.
How you feeling?
Not too bad.
Still in the brace? Is it a brace?
Yeah, it's a lock and brace. I got probably another 3 weeks or so in that before I can get free. So it is what it is.
Feeling better every week, though?
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I can move a little bit more, do a little more with it, so I ain't bad.
I'm sure you felt good after Friday night.
Felt a little better after Friday night, for sure, yeah.
You opened up Week 1 with a win over North Greene down in Baylorton on the Tundra, 60-27. Plethora of different running backs and just different rushers in general that helped combine for 325 rushing yards. We'll get into all that in just a second, but yeah, man, Friday night, big win over North Greene to open up the season. How good did that feel?
No, it was great. You always want to start with a win, and thought we played pretty well for the most part. So to get that first one off our back is good, and obviously, and a county win never hurts.
And you win 19 straight in the series now. Didn't want to say a number last week. I'm fine with saying a number this week because it's not a jinx anymore. You win the 50th matchup between North Greene and Chuckey-Doak, 43-7 in the all-time series now. And when you have a night where you put up 60 points and you have 464 yards of total offense, you feel good at the end of the night, and you feel good going forward.
Yeah. You obviously want to be efficient offensively, and we got obviously things we can clean up. But I as a play caller, you're never upset with 300 yards on the ground and almost 500 yards total offense. That's a pretty good night.
Let's talk about those rushing yards also. 325 total rushing yards. Yep. You had 8 different rushers, but you had 4 different running backs that touched the ball. And I believe you had 40 different rushes from those 4 different running backs. Avery Parkey, 12 rushes, 78 yards. Marcus Britt, 7 rushes, 59 yards and a touchdown. Braden Green, 7 rushes, 57 yards and 2 touchdowns. And surprisingly, Zayden Shockey, 7 rushes, 86 yards and 2 touchdowns, leads you in yards and touchdowns with the least amount of rushes. So you could talk about each one of them individually if you want to, or group them together, but how great was it to be able to put out a 4-headed monster on Friday night and have so much success?
No, it was great. To kind of address them all as a group. And, as I said Friday night, we played really well up front for the most part. And, those guys did a great job, but that doesn't get done without those 5 guys up front and our tight end 6 with our tight ends playing well up front. So they did a good job. But, we talked about it early in the season. It's going to be a reoccurring thing. We've got a lot of mouths to feed in the backfield, a lot of guys who need touches. And, it's kind of tough sometimes as a play caller. You want to make sure you get people the touches they need to help you win. And when you've got 4 backs who need to touch it, and a couple of receivers, and a couple of tight ends, and we got a lot of spreading around to do. So you look at stat line and look at somebody like Braden Green with 57 yards. He went for 200 last year.
Yeah.
Well, he had a great night. He did exactly what we needed him to do. He had 57 yards, played well on defense. Marcus, same thing. Avery, same thing. So, we keep some fresher legs and do a good job up front, and we're able to generate those rushing yards without wearing somebody down.
Yeah, and those 5 offensive linemen up for our Texas Roadhouse Player of the Week. You can go vote on greensportzone.com right now. So go vote for the Texas Roadhouse Player of the Week. All 5 Chuckey-Doak offensive linemen, and just Chuckey-Doak's offensive line in general, because there's obviously more than 5 that touched the field on Friday night. So don't forget to go vote right now. Voting is still up on the website as we speak. And let's jump into the quarterback play. I know it had been a huge burning question in the preseason. I did not ask. I stayed away from that question, but we did see both on Friday night.
Yeah.
Kipton Ball, 5 of 8, 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. Brody Myers, 3 of 7, 35 yards and a touchdown. How proud were you of both quarterbacks when they went out there and touched the field?
I thought it was great. They both did exactly what we needed them to do. You worry with 2 quarterbacks is do you have a lull with one or whatever. And I don't feel like we had a lull, either one offensively. I talked to the quarterbacks in our team, after the game. I believe we had 8 incomplete passes and 2 were bad balls. We had 1 bad ball from each quarterback, which just happens. I mean, you throw the ball, you're going to have some poorly thrown footballs. But if you can run that many snaps out there and have between your quarterbacks 2 or 3 true minuses, 4 minuses maybe, a pretty good quarterback play. And they both give us different things and are both able to play multiple positions. And Kip had a good night. Brody had a good night. You look, Brody had a good night on defense. He had a good night blocking. And then you see Kipton Ball out there blocking on a punt return and blocking on a pass play and stuff he hadn't been asked to do in previous years. And he's going out there and being a huge part of us being successful at multiple positions. So that's really neat to see. It takes a lot of maturity and unselfishness from both of those kids to be willing to do what it takes to help us be the best team we can be, and I think they're both doing that.
Interesting fact also, they combined for 8 completions, but they have 3 touchdowns out of those 8 completions. So it's a pretty good ratio right there of touchdowns to receptions. And then let's go to the receivers that they connected with the most. Skylar Davis, 3 receptions, 59 yards, and 2 touchdowns. In Braxton Lowe, 3 receptions for 46 yards and a touchdown. Those look like the 2 main receivers on Friday night that accounted for the most yards and the 3 touchdowns. How good were Skylar and Braxton on Friday?
Oh, they played well, for the most part. Had a Kobe Love played well.
Have
to talk about him on special teams. I'm sure he had a good catch for us as well. Probably my biggest frustration offensively was we had multiple drops, and we it's no surprise to anybody. I'm a former offensive lineman. I want to run the football, and that's kind of who we want our identity to be. But we need to be able to attack the defense and the perimeter of the defense. We got to be able to catch the ball. So we got to be a little bit more clean catching the football on the perimeter when it presents itself to us. But for the most part, I thought those guys played well and made impact plays.
And then let's talk about Kobe Love. What a way to start the season.
Yeah,
no better way to start the season.
Yeah.
88-yard kickoff return touchdown. We probably should have led off with that, but I wanted to get the individual stats in there first. But let's talk about the actual game itself. You can't start the season any better than that. Opening kickoff return touchdown. How exciting was that?
Oh, it was great, man. We thought we had a good return schemed up there and worked out perfect. Jaden Britt threw a huge block right there to kind of spring the thing open, but the whole kickoff return team did well. And obviously it's an electric play. I can probably count a handful of kickoff returns in a 15-year coaching career, so it's not something that happens a bunch, but it certainly gets your guys going and kind of sets a tone, and it was great for us.
How many have you had at Chuckey-Doak?
I
can only think of 2. Skylar Davis had one at Granger a couple years ago.
Yeah.
I believe those are the only 2 I know.
I'd have to go back and look, but I'd be willing to bet it's less than 10 in 15 years. So,
right.
I'd be surprised if it was more than 6. So it's not a common thing.
No.
So to have one happen, in the first play of the game, first play of the year, that's pretty cool. It was a fun way to start and get the guys going and kind of set us up going from there.
And then after that, North Greene scores, takes a 7-6 lead, and then Marcus Britt scores a rushing touchdown. Braden Green scores a rushing touchdown. You get a little bit of a lead right there, and then you see North Greene potentially cutting into that. They get down on the goal line, and you come up with a huge defensive stand on 4th and goal. And then I believe right after that on North Greene's next possession, Braxton Lowe comes away with an interception.
Yep.
So back-to-back drives right there where you're able to take the ball away from North Greene on a turnover on downs and a turnover. How key were those back-to-back drives on defense?
Oh, I mean, they were huge for us. Like I said, it kind of got to a back and forth right there a little bit, which is not where you want to be. Rarely do you want to be in a scoring match. You want to be able to play good defense, and so the 4th down stop was big. The 4th down stop was big. We had 2. They popped us on 3 of their touchdowns were coverage issues. We hit them with 2 incomplete passes, 2 PBUs right there on the 4th down stop in a row. Mason Henderson had one, then Skylar Davis has another one.
Almost had a pick.
Almost had a pick, yeah. And then you come back with a pick right there in the next drive. So good stand defensively. It's kind of easy defensively sometimes when teams have success to kind of get down on yourself a little bit, and man, they hit us with some chunk plays, and you can let that build, and as that builds, you end up giving up more than you want to. But to bow your neck and make 2 big stands kind of changed it for us right there.
And then you go into the halftime with a 33-14 lead following Braxton Lowe's receiving touchdown. It's often a saying in baseball, you make a great defensive play, you lead off with a hit, and that's kind of what Braxton did. He gets that interception, and then he's rewarded on offense with the touchdown. You go into halftime with a 33-14 lead. How much confidence do you have going into the half with that?
Oh, we felt pretty good about it. We felt like we were playing pretty decent for the most part. I think the theme all night was, offensively was we got to catch football when we get a chance, and continue to run the ball well, and we did those things, and felt like defensively if we could kind of tighten up those little coverage issues, then we'd be okay. And anytime you can force teams to out of chunk plays and make them drive the field, it makes it really tough high school football. I have to go back and look, but the percentages on your scoring percentages on the length of your drive, the longer that drive takes, the lower your chances are you come out with touchdowns. So, which is kind of counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make guys chunk it down the field, or nickel and dime it down the field, they eventually make mistakes. So, felt like we were able to force that. Felt pretty good about it at halftime.
I don't remember if you led. I think it was 41-21. I don't remember the order of scoring there that you and North Greene scored in, but you lead 41-21, and our own Tate Russell, who covered the game on Friday night, wrote about a key play that happened on your offense, 4th and 14 on the 34-yard line. If you don't get it, North Greene's still in the ball game. They're down 3 possessions. They go down and score. You cut it to 2 possessions right there with a lot of time left, and you put the dagger in their hearts with a 34-yard strike to Skylar Davis on 4th down right there, and the score ends up ballooning to 47-21.
Was that Brody's or Kipton's? They both threw one to him. I can't remember which one it was.
I can't remember that much. I don't know if it was written in the article either.
That was a big one, though. Yeah,
it was a big one.
Kind of seals the deal right there. You get yourself, 3 scores is still attainable. I mean, and 4 scores is too. We've seen it happen. I was in college. We were down 28-0 at Coastal Carolina at halftime. Come back and won in double overtime. So that was a pretty crazy game. But you kind of feel like you kind of put it away with one more right there, and got ourselves in the 4th and long, and hate that. But we were kind of in a spot where didn't feel like we could. If we were punting it, we were probably punting in the end zone. So you're giving them decent field position, not really any different field position than if we had not gotten the first down. So, take a shot and try to put the dagger in, and if we didn't, we felt pretty good about our defense being able to come up with a stop. And I think that was Kipton made a good throw right there, and Scott went up and made a good catch and kind of put it away.
And then you ride that out all the way into the end. You win 60-27 right there, and you leave the Tundra with a win on Friday night and start the season 1-0. And now we turn around next week, and hey, you get to come out here and you get to play on the Black Hole this week.
Yeah, man. Anytime you get to play at home is good. So we're excited to come back. The only bad part about playing at home is you got to paint the field.
You got a robot to do that, don't you?
Yeah, but it still takes time, more time than I would spend. But it is what it is. It's worth it to play at home, and hopefully get a good home crowd. And Sullivan East usually travels pretty well, so it should be a good environment. They had a big win a week ago, so they're feeling pretty good too. So we'll have two good football teams coming in for a fun Friday night matchup.
Chuckey-Doak hosts Sullivan East this upcoming Friday here on the Black Hole in Lower Afton at 7 o'clock. But before we get into that too much, as always, we need to hear another word from our sponsors first. So we'll be right back after another quick message from them here on First Horizon's Green Sports Zone.
When it comes to flooring, trust our team at Terry's Flooring. With the largest selection in the area, you're sure to find the perfect look for your home or business. Backed by decades of experience, our unmatched customer service ensures that your project is measured and installed with precision and done right the first time. It's no surprise that Terry's Flooring boasts a 4.8 rating on Google and a 5-star rating on Yelp. Come and see my Popsy's team at Terry's Flooring on Kaiser Boulevard. Terry's Flooring, quality you can stand on.
For over 30 years, Tommy's Plumbing has proudly served the Tri-Cities with a personal touch, because we're not just plumbers, we're family. From simple faucet repairs to full plumbing repiping, we have the experience and expertise to get the job done right. We also specialize in water heater and tankless water heater installations, helping you find the perfect solution for your home. Our technicians stand behind their work and always leave your space clean and spotless. Looking for a plumber who's fast, professional, and reliable? Call Tommy's Plumbing and let our family take care of yours.
Hey folks, it's Gateway Ford in Greenville. Right now, everyone gets Ford employee pricing. The same deal Ford employees get. No games, no negotiation. Save maximum green in Greenville today at Gateway Ford on Highway 11 East or at gatewayfordgreenville.com. Save some green in Greenville at Gateway Nissan, carrying on a 55-year tradition of doing business your way. Save thousands on Sentra, Rogue, Frontier, and more. Take the short drive to Gateway Nissan in Greenville or online at gatewaynissangreenville.com.
Welcome back to First Horizons Green Sports Zone, and welcome back to this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show, where we cover everything in Lower Afton on the Black Coal with Chuckey-Doak Black Knight football team. As always, I'm joined here with Black Knight's head coach, Billy Kaylor. So you actually play at home on the Black Coal this week, as we mentioned before the break. You host Sullivan East at 7 o'clock here on Friday night, a team that picked up a big shutout win over one of your region opponents in Johnson County in Week 1. Both teams looking to keep that clean record going into Week 2 here. What are we expecting on Friday?
Well, Sullivan East is kind of an air raid team. They throw the ball a ton, a lot of vertical shots, so it should be exciting. It's a different test for us. Defensively, we don't see a ton of that.
Probably the most passing you'll see all year.
Yeah, West Greene's probably going to do more than they have in the past, from what I've heard. I haven't seen them yet, and Unicoi likes to toss it around a little bit, but I think they only ran the ball 3 times against Johnson County.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're going to throw the heck out of it. I think they threw it more in the first quarter than we threw it in the whole game. Maybe in the first 2 possessions. So, that's going to be a little different. It's a good challenge for us. The problem with, the scary thing about teams like that is when they take them in vertical shots, it doesn't take long we talked just a minute ago about not keeping teams out of chunk plays. They threw that many vertical shots. Chunk plays are easy to happen if you're not sound on the back end. So we got to be really good in the back end, or it's going to light up pretty fast. So good football team. They had a lot of success last week, and hopefully we can staunch some of that and run the ball a little bit and rein that thing in.
I don't know if I mentioned this last year, but looking back and doing my notes before this show, I believe last year was the first ever meeting between Chuckey-Doak and Sullivan East. I believe so. And you won that first meeting last year 38-21. So coming here this year for the second meeting and going into the offensive side of things, you talked about the air raid. You know what to expect. They've got some really good athletes out there on the outside, though. So talk about the personnel that you expect to see from Sullivan East. Well,
Coach Simmons does a good job over there, and they've got a couple of dudes. Number 5's a really good receiver for them. Number 1's a really talented kid. Quarterback, number 2, can throw it around. Does a really good job throwing the ball vertically. Number 2's a good player. Number 7 plays offense and defense for him, plays running back and outside linebacker, and is a real physical kid. And they're a little bit different defensively than they have been in the past. Still in an odd front defensively, but just a little bit different alignment and not quite as much pressure as they've done in the past. But we'll still light you up and send a bunch. So we've got to be good up front again, sound up front. We've got to be really sound in the back end defensively, and something we need to see more of our front 7 defensively. We've got to be a little better in the pass rush. We've got to force that quarterback off his point and make him throw off rhythm. In an air raid type system, when you're playing a team like that, you want that quarterback to throw off rhythm as much as possible. So we got to do a better job in the front 7 defensively of creating pressure and moving him off his point. And it's going to be a tough night for us defensively.
What defense will they come out in to try to slow you down on offense?
They show us on films the 3-4. They're going to. I imagine, and of course you never know, they've got the great thing about the 3-4 is you've got the ability to stack the box and get wide without changing personnel. But as much as we like to run the football, I imagine they're going to give us a heavy box and really play a 7 or 8 man box with us out of that 3-4. And they're not going to give up the deep ball. They're going to play some cover 3 and some cover 4 and things of that nature and try to get it deep. But keep you from chunk playing them in the passing game. But like I said, they roll some guys on the defensive front. Number 7's a pretty good linebacker. They got some dudes back there, so we're going to have to do a good job of picking up pressure, running into a heavy box, and we got to catch the football on the perimeter so that we can try to lighten that box up so we can run the football.
I feel like I know what the answer to this is going to be, but we're nearing the end of the interview now. It's time for the question. You've got 3 keys to the game that you need to carry out on Friday night in order to be successful and get that win over Sullivan East. What are those 3 keys?
Well, we're going to have to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. We've got to be able to run the ball well. We've got to be able to generate pass rush.
All right.
Control the line of scrimmage, those are all stacked into one.
Yeah.
We've got to take care of the football. And we got to tackle well. We got to tackle in space, keep them in front of us. We got not turn the ball over, and we got to control the line of scrimmage. With those things, week in, week out, that's a pretty good recipe for a win.
And hopefully get a win on Friday night. But before we go anywhere, hey, It's time for
Question of the week.
Question of the Week.
What you got?
New question this week. Not related to food this week.
Okay.
This one was spur of the moment. I will admit, I showed up to my first coach's show this week a little unprepared, but I did have it on my mind last week during one of the coaches' shows to maybe ask this one next. But we're flipping sports. We're going to basketball.
Okay.
Who's the GOAT, LeBron or MJ?
I'm a child of the 90s, man. Is that even a question? Michael Jordan.
I believed that would be the answer.
Michael
That's so
Jordan
far the
guy.
consensus answer. I believe it will be a sweep this week, but we're yet to see so far. What's your explanation?
He does everything well. He did everything well. Everything. He was, I don't know how many times Defensive Player of the Year, all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And, part of it's probably cultural. I'm a child of the 90s, so, it was the Bulls. That's what it was, I did grow up in Central Florida, so the only things in basketball that I ever heard about was Shaq with the Magic.
Oh, yeah.
And Michael Jordan. So, to be fair, I'm not a huge basketball guy. I played basketball. I like basketball. I don't watch a lot of basketball. My favorite basketball player is Jay Crowder because he was my high school teammate.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, he's my quarterback in high school.
Jay Crowder.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Great dude. Love him to death. He's my favorite NBA player because I snapped to him for 4 years in high school. So
Wow.
pretty cool. Beyond that, I don't really care.
Well, that was where I was leading to because I'm a Miami Heat fan.
Okay.
You were around whenever the Miami Heat were first created.
Yeah.
So how was that living in Florida whenever the Miami Heat were created?
I lived an hour from Orlando. It didn't matter.
Okay, you were just all Magic.
Shack Attack, man.
All right, I got
It was
you.
all
I
about
got you.
Shaq.
Jay Crowder actually played for the Miami Heat.
He did.
So that is
He
cool.
did.
That is
Yeah.
cool to know.
It was all about Penny Hardaway and Shaq back in the day.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Early 90s.
That's a good team.
I was crushed as a young child when Shaq went to the Lakers. We were coming home from vacation, I think, and I came on the radio, and I was absolutely heartbroken. Probably had watched the Magic play twice in my life, but
But hey, when Shaq leaves, that's
yeah,
that's a huge.
It was depressing.
It's a huge cultural moment.
It was. I still remember it.
Yeah, not only in the NBA, but hey, in Florida, California, and everywhere. But
Yeah.
a huge cultural moment today, also in Tennessee, man. Dolly Parton.
Yeah, sad
Sad
thing,
here.
man. My 9-year-old daughter, that's her favorite singer.
Really?
Yeah, Tennessee Homesick Blues is her favorite song. So I imagine we'll have a pouty little girl when I get home. I don't blame her. That's a big loss for Tennessee culturally and then country music in general. So I'm a big old country guy, so I like little Dolly.
I did hear from a friend of mine who works in the Sevier County school system that Sevier County is, I think tomorrow is a day of mourning.
Really?
So that is
Well,
nice to
she's
see. She
Obviously,
is.
extremely talented musician, but she's done a whole heck of a lot for a whole lot of people across the country and particularly this East Tennessee area. So
She will probably do more for East Tennessee and Tennessee itself than probably anybody else.
maybe so. The Imagination Library, some of the stuff she's done through that, getting books in kids' hands is incredible. So it's a big loss for sure.
It is a big loss. That's the end of the interview this week. Unfortunately, no game broadcast this week.
Well,
It'll
that's
be the only one that's not broadcasted. We will have it on Twitter, though. I don't know who. I don't want to say it and be wrong because I hate being wrong. I believe I know the person in mind, but again, I do not want to be wrong. But
That's all right.
no game broadcast this week. We'll have it next week. We'll be broadcasting next week's West Greene game as the Baltimore Bernard Game of the Week presented by Tommy's Plumbing. But nothing this week unless you've got anything else to add. That's all I've got.
Oh, man, appreciate you guys.
All right, go be 2-0 and go get a win over the Patriots.
That's the plan.
All right, man.
Appreciate it,
it once again. Thank you all for watching this week's edition of the Terry's Flooring Billy Kaylor Show. Look forward to seeing you next time here on First Horizons Green Sports Zone.